I'm Alan Bragwell, and if you're watching this video, there's 2 or 3 reasons you may be checking it out. First of all, I may have sent you this link in order to see and get an introduction of what telecounseling might look like, what I look like if we haven't really met face to face yet. Or perhaps you are a client and you just happen to be checking out the Dreams and Hard Facts YouTube channel that I've developed. But I'm glad you're here. Thanks for checking this out. A little over 9 months ago, I made a video to present the introduction to telecounseling because 100% of my caseload at that time was working with folks face-to-face in a traditional setting, mostly in doctor's offices around Northwest Alabama. After COVID became an issue and the quarantines began, certainly it was not a good idea for me to be in a doctor's office. So at that point, telecounseling became the primary mode of delivering the services that I have. So I began to do a lot of telecounseling, and I made a video and it used it. I'd been sending people to the video as new clients, and it was so dated and it was so obvious that I was talking about things that had happened months ago. At the time, I think there had been like 100 cases identified in Alabama back in March of last year. And certainly that's a lot more now. So I felt like it might be a good time to update the video and just bring some new thoughts into this setting. If you're here looking at this video because you're fixing to start working with me as your counselor, this is the room that I work in. This is my home office. This is the house I grew up in as a child, moved back here a few years ago. This was not my room when I was a kid. This was actually a music room at the time and a sewing room that my mother used. But it's been converted into an office now. The door will be closed. There's a sound machine on the outside, and there's security and privacy. If my wife, who's the only person that would be around, might go by on this end of the house, she's not going to be able to hear me. And of course, she couldn't hear anyone that was talking to me because of the headsets. Nevertheless, we still have the effort to try to give as much privacy, of course, as possible. The only interruptions we might have is Olaf the cat, who occasionally comes up to the door and meows, and I will make a timeout and let Olaf in, who I guess is HIPAA compliant. But he usually jumps up on the desk next to me and wants to look out the window at the birds and the deer and whatever else is outside. He tends to be a helper more than a hindrance, but he's a big cat and he may want to join us. And most people really don't mind if he joins us. There's pluses and minuses. There's good and there's not so good things about telecounseling. And I just wanted to touch on those for a couple of minutes in this brief video. 90% of the people that I've been doing telecounseling with now for almost a year tell me they love it for several reasons. Number one, it's convenient to them and to their schedule. Whether they're at work, maybe on break, and they find a secure place with the secure platform that they can use, or if they're at home, or if they're out and about, they have control with as much possibility that they can have to designate the time and the manner in which they receive the service. So that gives the person a lot of control and a sense of control. It takes away having to schedule appointments after work or during the day, go to that place, get back to work, get back to the children or home, get back to whatever situation. Just takes that out of the picture quite a bit. So most people that I've worked with this year, if I went back and did a poll, I think about 90% would say that they are okay with it. There's some downsides to telecounseling, and I would say probably about 10% of my clientele have verbalized that, and others have respectfully and cordially said, this is just not for me. I think I would rather try to receive services from maybe one of your colleagues or a peer that's in a position where they can offer traditional face-to-face services. And in a minute, I'll mention why I'm not quite in that place yet. But I will say that for some folks, they are just not comfortable using the media platform for different reasons. It's just personal reasons, personality reasons, and there's no foul, there's no judgment against that. It's just not something people like. I have counselor friends that have really hated this year that they've had to do telecounseling. For me, it hasn't been so much of a drag. I just enjoy interacting with people in any way I can, and I feel like it's a way for me to help them. So nevertheless, I have had people that I've gladly referred on, or perhaps initially when people call to make an appointment and they'll ask me questions, and I can kind of determine pretty quick that maybe they're not exactly excited about telecounseling. I will try to find someone that's doing traditional counseling. This was hard to find a year ago, but now with the onset of the vaccines that are now available, the availability of them becoming more and more. Some of my colleagues have had COVID and recovered. So they're not as concerned about getting COVID, and they're not in a position to be worried too much about that. As I make this video right now, I have not had COVID, and the vaccine has not been made available. I have not come into the level of where that would be something I would be able to get at this point as I make this video. It's possible in the days ahead, as the efficacy of the vaccine is measured and noted, cases begin to drop. The original location that I delivered services were in physicians' offices: Hackleburg, Phil Campbell, Red Bay, Littleville, and Green Hill, Alabama. The ability to go into those locations as the virus changes, as people are vaccinated, as there is opportunities to return to those, may put me in a position where I could return and have a blended practice. I believe, in my mind, I think telecounseling is going to be a vehicle that's going to continue to be utilized. However, if the situation presents itself, I would gladly look at returning to those locations again. It would be nice. I enjoy getting out, even the commutes, which those were some of those drives for me were 1 hour one way, but it was nice to be able to get out. I think that a lot of folks are now needing counseling for many reasons. As this situation has continued to make its way through our culture and our time, there's a lot of stress. I encourage people to seek and get the help that they need. And I'll do everything I can, either for myself to be that person that delivers those services, or to try to find a referral person or a colleague or someone that can deliver those services in the best situation that's available. So thanks for taking a few minutes and letting me update you. Again, this could be the introduction for, if you've never met me, this is kind of what it looks like, at least from the end, from me talking and speaking. This is the environment it'll be. And I look forward to having our first session. If you're just checking back in, thanks for coming by. Check out the other postings that I have on my YouTube channel, Dreams and Hard Facts. And if you like them, be good to give the thumbs up, and I appreciate that. Again, thanks again, and have a good day.